After watching the Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears skit uh, that they did a little bit over a decade ago, somebody has different opinions about both of them. Let's get into it. Now, I made a video last week, and one would assume that it was in defense of the backlash that Aries Spears, the comedian, was getting. And it mainly revolved around the comments he made in regard to Lizzo and her weight and things of that nature. And I was under the impression that's where all of the backlash was coming from. Why folks is up in arm. It's 2022. You can't say anything real or factual about anyone, especially a woman today, because they just have to live in their existence in the alternate reality. So of course I'm against that. Right? I'm just against that hive mind thinking. So I was like, yo, why y'all coming at Aries Spears like y'all coming at him? Until I saw the real reason why he's in hot water in regard to that skit he did with Tiffany Haddish and the young child. Now, I was able to see the skit, not the unedited version of it. I don't think I want to see the unedited version of that comedy skit that they were involved in, but you can get the gist of where they were going with it. And without a doubt, did not like it. Did not like it one bit. I don't play with pedophilia and the repercussions that children experience from those experiences could be catastrophic, can even push them over the edge to the point where they want to delete themselves. And again, in our community, it's a topic that in some families, in some situations, you might have that uncle that everybody know you don't leave him with the kids. And I don't know how it is in white communities, Hispanic communities, but I know in black communities, and especially in my family, there were individuals that fit that characteristic, and you just kind of just stayed away from them, and it was kind of like a family secret, in the sense of just not letting it out the bag. As long as he stay over there, as long as people are watching where Johnny is during the celebrations and the get-togethers, he was able to exist, and that's not functional. That's traumatic, traumatizing to the victim, because they had to be around this individual for years, and especially if they were a child. Most children are afraid to come out and speak in regard to the molestation that they may have experienced from a family member. But again, I watched the skit and I try to look at it from the point of view and aspect of what they do, and they're comedians, right? They've been very successful at that. But with anything, there's a line that you just cannot cross. There's just certain things that are just not funny. There's just certain things that you can't do and expect people to be okay with. And in involving children in that skit and in nature, and insinuating that then they received the molestation even though it was unwanted and they were unaware of it, and then they became receptive to the molestation, it's just it rubbed me the wrong way. And I guess it comes from also being a father and knowing that we're the main estate protectors of our children, and to flippantly think that this would be something that would be a valuable piece of art, of comedic art, to share with the entire world. um I just think it was very not it wasn't a wise decision, a wise thing to do. And I tell folks all the time, all money ain't good money. There's sometimes you just got to bite the bullet, because your integrity matters more, and the perception of, unfortunately, what people think of you are going to matter depending on what you do and what you involve yourself with. regardless of how innocent at the time you might think it is. But in partaking in those type of skits and comedy, and the fact that this was filmed professionally, this wasn't like they were using an iPhone 5 and they were in someone's home and it was a random. No, this was a set. This is a setup. This was premeditated. This was directed, and this was written, not necessarily by Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears, but regardless of the fact, they are the two main participants, at least when in regard to adults who basically crossed the line. And listen, I don't know how this kid at the time was feeling about this. Most of the time, I hear when a child's on set in some form of entertainment business, most of the time the parent is on set as well. So I'm not sure if this young man's parents were on set while this skit was being filmed, but there's no way in hell, shape, or form I personally could subject my child to this kind of misogyny, buffoonery, it's not misogyny, buffoonery, pedophilia, and even if it's in fun and gesture. No, this is the internet. This is the modern times. This kid's going to grow up to be a man at some point in time, and this can come back and haunt him. And who knows how far he'd be willing to go with possibly now at this point. What I've been hearing is that he's looking to sue, and I don't know what kind of charges could be pressed because, again, the institution or the company that casted him and that set this whole thing up, I think they would be more liable than Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears because they were obviously, doing their job duties in the sense of, they were booked to partake in this by this company, and they can be resolved of this matter in the sense of, hey, it wasn't us. We were just paid to do this, and the company should be liable of anything. Now, again, while I'm not going to make light of this, and while I'm going to continue to be respectful of the child, who obviously I'm assuming now at this point in time is a young man, of his feelings, of his family feelings, I'm going to say this though, and I don't want folks to take this the wrong way, but this was also a skit, right? There's a lot of risky skits that are done. It shouldn't be done, but they're done. And I think today in 2022, whereas when this skit was filmed, people were more willing to be selective on what they outrage would allow them to be outraged by. Even, I've seen people do, and other comedians and other actors do things in movies where you're like, that's not going to go over well maybe 15, 20 years from now. And people just overlook it and give them a pass, one may say. I'm not with the whole cancel culture deal. Never been. I never felt like no human being is unredeemable regardless of what they've done. Now, it took me time to get to this point in my life to feel this way, because I think everyone's redeemable. Everyone deserves a second chance, regardless of whatever the transgression is, because at the end of the day, no one's perfect. But the calling for the cancel culture of, that exists today, and they want, obviously, these two individuals, Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish, to be, exiled, I guess, from Hollywood or being able to make a livelihood. I don't think that that's fair because, you know, um, again, there's so much hypocrisy in this nation, and it's regulated by, honestly, wealth. The more money you have, the more resources you have, the more you're able to get through and have things blow over. That if you were a normal citizen doing these things, you would have to face immediately the repercussions of those said things that you were doing. But again, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right. I think we need to stop making fun of anybody that experienced any kind of sexual molestation or even the byproduct or even the past traumas that people have experienced and trying to normalize this for the masses. It's nothing normal when a child is preyed upon and is molested. It's nothing normal when a parent is oblivious to their child being molested. And from what the insinuation in the skit was that Tiffany Haddish was oblivious. She was not aware. She continuously allowed this man, Aries Spears, to come into her home and to, you know, do some very interesting, suspect things that people will question at the end of the day. And I think that's cool, questioning things. I think that's acceptable to say, hey, you know, that isn't the norm for how, you know, the everyday household is. Because there's no way in hell, uh, you know, I would allow my child to be subjected to that, whether even if they're casting them to play this role, you know, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And I think, again, this is also be taught as a valuable lesson to parents who have young children, who has aspirations for their children to enter the entertainment business, that, listen, do not subject your child to nothing, nothing that you wouldn't do, right? Especially protect their psyche, right? Protect their innocence. You know, allow them to grow up and experience things as they should. But don't, because what you're doing is you're predetermined to believe that your child may be able to handle these roles. But psychologically, history has shown that young children who are involved in the entertainment business, they don't always fare well as adults because there's some sort of trauma most of the time that accompanies, this type of access to this world that is no reality. It's a big fairy tale. Hollywood is fake. Nothing is real about it. I'm not saying the molestation, the rapes, the weird shit that go on in it isn't real. But the average person don't live like these guys live. At the end of the day, we can't just wake up in the morning, roll over, and hit the alarm clock and go back to bed for weeks and months at a time, and our bills still be paid. And I get it. Some people get to the point where desperate measures kick in, and you like, hey, I got to make $1, but don't use your child as the altar sacrifice for that. So, am I disgusted? Am I outraged by Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish? Yes, of course I am. Of course I am. I don't care how young you were. You were an adult. You knew right from wrong. And you should have had a lot more integrity and self-reflection, not only for yourself, but also for that child that was subjected to that buffoonery. I'm Troy. This is Black Talk Today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. Catch you in the next one. Peace. Hey guys, I'm Troy. Are you a Second Amendment advocate, or you just enjoy going to the gun range and engaging in that particular hobby and activity? Well, I have another channel called Government Issue, where I show you all my recent accessories of my firearms that I have and how to install these accessories on them, how to operate firearms professionally, and how they operate on the field. Why don't you subscribe to Government Issue? Peace.